Dear ASML colleagues, normally you could only say this on national television, but the situation allows me to say it here as well. Welcome everybody watching from home, or from the office of course. And we're very happy that you tuned in to this special opportunity that PSV is giving us. A warm welcome to our colleagues from Asia, the US and Europe. My name is Menno van Hoek. I am an HR manager within supporting functions at ASML. I joined 4.5 years ago, and in my work I talk to a lot of people about happiness and well-being. And also privately I'm pretty interested in this topic. I like to stay happy and feel well, and on top of that I am a supporter of PSV. So it makes me very happy to be here at the Hertgang, which is the training facilities of PSV, the academy. You could say this is the heart of PSV's people development, and people development brings them to the top level they are in. And also within ASML we are at top level, so there's a lot to learn from PSV in that sense. In this week we will talk to 4 different people, and after talking to Toon and Luc, today we have a special guest and we are very happy to have him here. Welcome Pablo Botermans.
Thank you, Menno.
Pablo is a lifestyle coach at PSV. He studied sports and performance psychology, and after that he joined PSV to become a lifestyle coach in order to make sure that players are the best version of themselves. And we're very curious what that actually is, and we're going to talk about that. The concept is clear. We have asked our colleagues, what do you want to know? And out of the questions we have received, we made this conversation, and we will start off with some statements, and after that we will put some separately asked questions on the screen which we will discuss. But before we start with the statements, a question that directly influences my own happiness. When PSV wins, I'm quite happy. When they lose, it affects my well-being or happiness in a negative way, I would say. Is there a way to avoid the negative effect? Besides making sure that PSV wins, of course, but let's keep it at my circle of influence.
Yes.
What can I do in that sense?
Yeah, good question, Menno, because I'm also a bit down when PSV lose, of course. My suggestion would be just think of other things, because it's elite football and every team wins and every team loses sometimes. And of course you never want to lose. But yeah, if they lose, try to see it in perspective, hey, okay, there will always be coming a next match, and the next match basically can show them once again how good they are.
Yeah, and what if it happens, of course within PSV it doesn't happen too much, luckily, but what if it happens 3 times in a row?
Yeah, then I would also just accept these feelings, because yeah, if you're a supporter of PSV, like me and like you, we want to strive for the best, just like the club. And we are used to winning titles, playing Champions League, so of course it isn't bad to feel bad when they lose. Yeah. But if it happens often, then I would suggest to just get your pleasure also out other things. Maybe you support a team from Spain or from England. Yeah. Try to look at them, or yeah.
So have a side event where I can be positive about.
Yeah, because you can't change that PSV and you won't have an influence on it. So.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I will dive into some other opportunities that there might be. Thanks for that advice, and let's start with the first statement. And that's a nice sentence. Wake up. The effect of sleeping is very big.
Yeah.
What's your view on that one?
Really good statement, I think, because I agree with this one. I would say that if you don't sleep well, you can't perform at high elite level. That's why also at PSV we give a lot of attention in sleep. We have some sleeping rooms, and I give workshops to the players and the trainers about sleep. And the reason why we do that is because there are a lot of side effects from sleep deprivation. Maybe you know them, but it's like being less focused, being injured faster, but also like overweight. Because when you sleep not well, or when you have sleep loss, then your ghrelin goes up and your leptin goes down. Okay. And ghrelin is a part of your body that says to your brain hey, I'm hungry, so it will make more of it. And the leptin is the part that says hey, you're full, you don't need to eat anymore. So all these effects are just so bad for elite athlete is what we think. So I think for today it's better to just talk about, hey, what are the best practical advice that we give?
Yeah.
Because then the people from home can also take advice from that.
Yeah.
And if you look at sleep, I think the basic steps that everybody needs to know is that you have a few sleep cycles. It's the non-REM and the REM sleep. REM stands for rapid eye movement. And one cycle lasts 1.5 hours. And you can see it like you go through this cycle a lot in the night. When I go to bed, I just schedule myself like, hey, today I want to have 4 schedules of 1.5 hours, or 5 schedules, or 6 schedules. So in practice, it means like 5 times 1.5 is 7.5. So I always make sure that I will set my alarm after 7.5 hours. So I never try to sleep 8 hours or 8.5. Yeah. I would rather sleep 7.5 hours than 8 hours.
And what happens if I try it myself and I'm thinking too much about that? It might happen that I just fall asleep after 30 minutes, and then my whole schedule gets mixed up.
That's a good one. It's not that bad because these 1.5 hours is the average, and it doesn't matter if you're 5 minutes or 10 minutes above or later than it. That's not a problem. But the reason why we do that is because, do you have a nap sometimes during the day, like a power nap?
No.
No? But you never slept on the couch at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock?
Yeah, when the kids were younger, but nowadays there's too much to do, and I think I'm not allowed to.
But if you think back at it and you were falling asleep in the couch and you woke up, how did you feel?
Yeah, in first instance a bit messy or so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's why, because if you be awake during the cycle, then you're feeling so buzzy and so... without any energy. Yeah. And that's why you have to follow these 1.5 hours.
And is that also what power nap does so should it be 1.5 hours then?
That's a good question. I would always recommend to have a power nap from 30 minutes, because then you don't go in your REM sleep.
Okay.
Or if you do the full cycle, so 1.5 hours.
Okay.
And always not later than 4 o'clock afternoon, because otherwise you will sleep later in the evening, because then your body won't understand that you need to sleep. Yeah,
and it's applicable to everyone, that 1.5 hours?
Yeah, like I said, it's an average, but I would just recommend people to play a bit with it. But for the most people, it's 1.5 hours, one cycle.
Okay. I'll take that advice and have my negotiations at home coming Saturday.
Top.
Thanks. Let's go to the next statement. There is no wrong motivation.
Also a good one, once again. I agree with this one because I think all forms of motivation are good for a person. It doesn't matter why you're motivated or how you're motivated, but it's good that you're motivated. Yeah. But I think it's good to have a look at, what kind of motivation are there? There are 2 separate ones. It's the internal motivation and the external motivation. External motivation is that you'll be motivated from things that don't have influence on you. So, for example, a reward or the meaning of your coach, whatever. And the internal motivation means just it comes from out of you. You want to play soccer because you like to enjoy on the field, because you want to play in stadiums, that kind of things. And if you look at the internal motivation, there is one really good theory from Ryan and Daisy. It's the SDT theory. It's a self-determination theory. And this just looks at how do people take control of their own life, and how do they make sure that that they make their own choices. And this is really important for the people, and all the research found out that if people follow these 3 steps, I will later explain them, the mental well-being of the people or the players or whatever will go up. And this is being researched in a broad area of specialties. So, for example, in work environment, in sport environment, in school environments. And what it basically says is that you have 3 areas. It's the need for competence, it's the need for relatedness, and the need for autonomy. Yeah. And let's start with the last one, autonomy. It's that every person, player, whatever, needs autonomy. For example, if you look at a player who's got injured, I talk with the player and talk with the physio, so we make a bond with the 3 of us. And then I say to the physio, like, hey, this player has a need for autonomy, because then he goes back earlier to the field, because then he has a feeling that he can have an influence on his own process.
And what is that in a practical sense?
Yeah.
What is autonomy in this case?
Autonomy is that you will discuss with the physio and the trainer that he can also think about his own exercises.
Okay.
So
Make your own decisions.
yeah, make your own decision. Yeah, and that's for every part. And if I look at ASML, I would recommend, for example, managers to let your employees make more choices for their own. Just give them responsibility, and if it goes wrong, you can later evaluate it. But yeah, sometimes you see that people are too strict, and yeah, if you give them autonomy, they will always blow.
Yeah. Okay.
Or grow.
Okay. Thanks. And the second one?
Yeah, the second one is the need for competence. So it means like everybody like it when they feel they're needy.
Yeah.
And yeah, in a team you can look at it like, hey, the coach will say, hey, good job, you did nice today, or nice ball, nice action, nice goal, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think you can also relate this back to the work environment.
Yeah.
And this will mean that, for example, once again, a manager provides positive but also meaningful feedback to his employees.
Yeah.
I think a compliment is never bad, so I would rather say give more compliments than, better 10 compliments than one not given.
And input in general, so make sure that people feel that they are adding value.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But I would be careful with this one to not give too much external rewards.
Yeah.
Because if you give too much external rewards, then you get back to the external motivation. Then this can lead to over justification, that people are not motivated anymore because you only want to do it for money or for a better position or whatever.
Which is a topic that is discussed in football or soccer a lot. Young players earn a lot of money in some cases. So is that a benefit, or could it be a disadvantage?
To earn a lot at a young age?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the world we're living in, and of course it's not good, but...
Do you need to guide players?
Yeah, we guide players with that. We guide them with how to take care of money.
Yeah.
We have our financial advisors for that. And I also have some challenges with some quizzes, and then we just ask them, what do you think is the average salary of a person in Holland? And then they come up with, it's 6,000 euros. I said, no, it's not even a half, you know, just to make them aware, like, which position they are in.
Yeah.
But then I got maybe a nice question for you, because in the Premier League, they earn way more than here or in the youth or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the average salary in the Premier League is above 3 million euros a year.
Okay.
And how many % of the players in the Premier League do you think is bankrupt after 5 years?
Ooh. I've read some stuff on LinkedIn and social media on this topic, that players are preventing this from happening. But I would say after 5 years.
Yeah, after 5 years. So they earn a lot.
Let's go for 40% then.
Yeah, it's even higher. I was shocked about it, but it's 60%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so guidance is essential in that sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Good to know. And there was a third topic you mentioned.
Yeah, there was the need for relatedness. So people want to belong to a group.
Yeah.
Every person wants that. And if you belong to a group, your intrinsic motivation goes also higher. And if you take this to the workflow once again, I think, I would recommend to just hang out with the people you like. Don't try to be with somebody because you want a higher promotion or whatever. I really believe that if you're doing what you like and hang out with the people you like, the promotion that you want will always come.
Yeah.
So just do what you like, and then the relatedness will always come.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be the group where you are directly working with, but you can also choose people around you that make you happy. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Good advice, and especially within a company of 25,000 people, I can find some, I guess.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Okay, great. Let's go to the next statement, and that is pressure improves performance.
Yeah, also a good one. I think yes and no, but I think of why I say that is because it really depends on the person. Every person's brains work different, every person's body works different. If I look at the PSV players, there is also a lot of difference. We got the ESOF model for that. That's a questionnaire that I fill in with the players, and ESOF stands for Individual Zone of Optimal Functioning.
Mm-hmm.
And there we can just look at, how does a player felt when he performed at his best, and how did a player felt when he performed at his worst? And then how did he feel? For example, you have positive emotions and negative emotions. Positive emotions are being happy, negative emotions are angry, but it doesn't need to be like, if you have a negative emotion, you won't perform well. So negative emotions can also lead to better performances.
Yeah.
So yeah, with this questionnaire, we just try to look like, hey, how does a person need to feel before a game to, perform at his best?
Okay. And what if that is angry, for instance?
Yeah, then I just go sit with him and say, hey, okay, we filled in this questionnaire and we find out you're angry.
Yeah.
How can I make you angry? Or maybe I know him, and then I say to him before a match, and I text him like, hey brother, your concurrent has scored 3 again, and you're maybe on the 7th position of the top scorer league.
Okay.
What are you doing? If you don't score today, then you will be out of the left row. That kind of things.
And it's not angry towards you, but they take it intrinsically and...
Yeah, exactly.
Take it to the field.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And what if it should be positive?
There are also a lot of players who try to smile a lot before the game or try to listen music a lot to the game because they don't want to think about all the tension they get before a match.
Okay.
So, for example, I saw lately a video from Paul Scholes and Rio Ferdinand at Manchester United, and they always played the game two-touch before the match. They were in the dressing room and they played the game two-touch. You have to touch the ball 2 times and then play it to the other one.
Okay.
But all the people went crazy because of them, but they just like, hey, I need this before the game. This is positive for me, so I do it.
Okay. And autonomy in that sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, and I think we need to go to the next statement already.
Yeah, top.
Prepare yourself to be ready for getting back to normal. It has to do with, of course, the situation where we are all in.
Mm-hmm.
And we are coping with the situation day to day, but of course we are looking ahead. What does it bring? And how can we prepare for the next step also at ASML?
It's a good question because I think no one has this answer for it because it never happened to us before. But if I just look at the situation now and if I speak for myself and for the people that I speak to, I would say like, okay, think about the good things you're experiencing now, because of course you miss sometimes the daily hustle, like going to there or doing this, of going to the restaurants or whatever. Yeah. But there are also a lot of good things that happens now. For example, you're being more home, you spend more time with your partner or with your family or with your children. I would just say like, okay, acknowledge these things and try to make up a list for yourself. Okay, what does really makes me happy and what do I want to keep from this situation and what do I miss?
And make a plan for that.
Yeah, make a plan for that, yeah, exactly.
Okay, and I can imagine that there's a lot to take out of the current situation. In my case, more time with my kids or with my wife. Focus on work. I can start immediately when I did my morning exercise. But on top of that, when restaurants open and cafes open and festival season opens again, I can imagine that there's just too much that I want to do.
Yeah.
Is there an advice in that sense?
Yeah, I think it's really easy. It's just make up for yourself where your needs are and where your responsibilities are, and just try to be strong at that, have some mental toughness about that.
Yeah.
But also I would recommend the people to have some mental detachment some days. Do you know what's that?
Yeah, so to take some distance from what you do. Or
yeah, exactly. For example, if I take this again back to PSV, the players from our club are here from 9 to 5 or to 6. It's not like the old days that they will be here 2 hours and go back. So they're like the whole morning and afternoon busy with football.
Okay.
So I always recommend them to, when you go home, just don't do anything about football, but just relax, because then your rehab from cognitive, emotional and physical parts will go faster and you're sharper the next day. Yeah. So that's what I also want to recommend people from ASML. Like, okay, if you have worked the whole day and you're coming home, do the mental detachment and don't think about your job or don't read about anything. Of course you can do that sometimes, but be aware of what it does to your body and your mind. And
it also helps to be sharp the day after.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you mentioned. Okay, that's a good advice. A lot to take into account for me in this sense already. Let's go to the first question that is asked, separately asked question.
Yeah.
How can I stay mentally strong while working from home and not having much friends around me? And I think this applies to a lot of people from ASML. Yeah. We have a lot of colleagues coming from abroad, working in the Netherlands, for instance, or in other countries where ASML is located. And then it can be difficult sometimes. Yeah. I know from conversations that I have with people. And I can imagine that that's the same for the players.
Yeah, 100%. I would be the first one to recognize this one, because I also guide the players that are from abroad at PSV. And I just see that some of them are really, not happy about the situation. You can imagine a player coming from Brazil to the Netherlands and being here all alone, haven't been to his home for maybe 10 months, and sitting there all alone the whole day. So at first I want to say like, okay, for everybody it's a difficult period, so try to have some peace with it, even though it's really hard, but you can change it. And that would be also my advice, like, okay, focus on the things you can control on and don't focus on the uncontrollable things, like the stoic motivation.
And what do you do as a club for these players?
Good one. What I recently did is that I made up a groups app on WhatsApp, and there I linked some players from different countries. Yeah. And I said to them, okay guys, what we're going to do the upcoming weeks is everybody has to make one dish from their own country, but not only the dish, but also explain to people why you make this dish and what are some values in your country. Yeah. And then we will do this once a week, and everybody comes to their home, and I will also join. And at the end of the thing, I will also tell something about Holland and why. What are my values? Oh, that's really nice. Yeah. Yeah. And what was the takeaway from that? How did players appreciate this? They really appreciate it a lot because it's so huge. Then you can also get it from religion. For example, there are some Muslims with him, some Catholic. Hoe zeg je dat? Doesn't matter. Catholics? Catholics, thank you. So, it was so broad, and they learned so a lot from it. But also, they learned, but they also had a nice time. And I think that's maybe a take-home message from the people from ASML. Like, just try to look at what makes you really happy. Yeah. And there are a lot of people who are in the same situation as you. Yeah. So try to maybe meet a lot more with the colleagues at your work floor, outside your work. That relate to that situation. Yeah, because everybody is feeling lonely now these days, and you don't have to be ashamed for it because it's normal. Yeah, okay, that makes total sense, and we have some platforms to use in that sense. So let's see how we can give this advice a good follow-up. Yeah. Thanks. Go to the next question. How to deal with the situation that you are hired to play, but your trainer determines that you're not in the first 11 or the basic lineup. I can imagine this happens if I look at PSV as well. Yeah, this happens a lot because if you look at the first team, there are probably 26, 27 players, and there can only start 11. And what can you do as a lifestyle coach or mental well-being in that sense? I think if you look at this question, that it has to do a lot with your mindset. I don't know if you know about it, but there's Carol Dweck, there's a founder of the growth and the fixed mindset. Yeah. Have you heard about this? We sometimes use it within ASML, but I think it's nice to explain because it makes sense. Then I will briefly explain the difference between the two. You have the fixed mindset. This believes that your talent is decided for you. So it doesn't matter if you train a lot, or it doesn't matter if you read a lot about your work or whatever, your capabilities will always stay the same. It is determined. Yeah. And on the other half, you have the growth mindset, which I support a lot, and is about, you can grow. It doesn't matter how you're at a certain point, but it matters how you cope with the situation, and you can always learn from it. Yeah. So, you can still grow every day. And is it possible to be in that growth mindset all of the time? To be honest, not. And you can also have different mindset in different aspects, for example, at school or at home or at your work or whatever. Yeah. But if I look at this question, then I would say like, hey, if you're not in the starting 11, you have two choices. The first choice is, I have a fixed mindset, the trainer thinks I'm bad, I can't do anything about it. Or you can have the second solution, which I always support, is that, I'm on the bench now, but hey, why am I on the bench? What can I do to play the next match? What does the coach need? What are my weaknesses? What are my strong points? And how can I improve them? Yeah, and take that growth mindset. Yeah, exactly. Account. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and also I think this related to ASML a lot because, probably you're not always getting the work you want at the moment, or you have to cope with some disappointments. But just try for yourself, there are two options that I can deal with this. Yeah, pick for yourself which one you want and how you want to be as a person. Yeah. Okay, that's a nice one to share as well after this interview. Where this is coming from. Carol Dweck. Carol Dweck, yeah. She's the founder of the Growth and Fixed Mindset. Okay. Good advice. Thanks for that one. And let's move to the next one. What's your biggest inspiration in your work? Yeah, I don't have one biggest inspiration because I believe that it's good for a person to have different ones. When I talk with players, I also never talk about role models because I think role model is like a person where you really look up to and you want to have the same life as him.
Mm-hmm.
But I more speak like inspirations and then different ones. For example, I take inspiration from different areas. If I look at the sports, I look up at Kobe Bryant as his Mamba mentality. If I look at speakers, I look up to Tony Robbins. If I look at mindset, I look up to Carol Dweck.
Yeah.
If I look within PSV, I look up at Iran Zahavi, his mindset and his always strive to work hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would always recommend to have from every person different inspirations.
So take the part of the inspiration that applies to you.
Yeah.
From that person. And you mentioned Kobe Bryant. What was the inspiration you got out of that?
Yeah, Kobe Bryant is his Mamba mentality. That's his alter ego that he made up after a match where he was playing really bad. And then during halftime, he said to himself, like, okay, fuck it, I'm so bad now, but I don't need to focus once again on the things I can't control.
Yeah.
So the audience or the pressure that I'm feeling, but I can only focus on the part that I can have influence on.
Yeah.
And from that, the first half, he scored only one goal point. And then he said this to himself, okay, I have the Mamba mentality, I'm going to only focus on the control part. And then the second half, he would just focus on, okay, this is my opponent, this is his weakness, I can pass him like this.
Yeah.
Or I will focus on the process, how I throw the ball.
Yeah.
So that kind of things.
And is that what you can translate towards players at PSV as well? Because I can imagine when stadiums are full again, that pressure, or when they are negative, it influences you.
Yeah.
Is it something you can teach other players from your perspective?
For sure. There's a lot of like tools how to cope with pressure.
Yeah.
One really easy one is just going back to your breath, like the mindfulness part.
Yeah.
If you're feeling pressure, just breathe in and breathe out. This is one tool, but there are several tools to cope with this.
Yeah, so keep it simple and keep it with yourself before
exactly
relating too much what's happening around you.
True.
Okay. So we need to go to the last question already,
yes.
Which is similar as for Toon and Luc before, but also for you we are curious. What is your best career advice for everyone watching?
Yeah, good one. Maybe it sounds a bit boring or a bit cliché, but I would say I would recommend that the people just try to be the best version of themselves. If they look in the mirror or when they go to bed, just ask yourself, hey, was I the best version of myself that I could be today, or am I lying to myself and am I not doing what I'm capable of?
Yeah.
And maybe I have a good tool for this for the people watching this at home. What I do every day for myself when I wake up, the first hour I don't use my phone, but then after 1 hour I take my phone and I open the notes and then I set for myself 3 goals for the day. And I won't go to sleep before I fulfill all these 3 goals.
Okay.
And to do this, it makes me more productive, and you can imagine why, because if you do this 3 times a day, if you do this for a whole week, you have 21 goals that you did in 1 week, which you otherwise wouldn't do.
Okay, that's a good advice, I would say, but I'm also curious, and I'm not sure if you want to share this, but what were the goals for today?
Yeah, of course I will share that with you, no problem. The goals that I set today were the 3 goals that, the first one was that I want to read 2 chapters of my book that I'm currently reading in.
Okay.
The second one is to clean whole my house.
Yeah?
It also needs to be done. And that's also why I said it can be every goal. So it doesn't have to relate to your work or to your sport or whatever. It can also be like, be nice to your girlfriend or your friend and call them.
Yeah.
And the third goal that I did today was prepare for the presentation I need to give about visualization upcoming Friday.
Okay.
So that were the 3 goals.
Okay, and you finalized that already, so you can go to sleep.
No, not yet. Today. I fulfilled 2, so I have to make the presentation later today.
Okay,
but yeah, I'm looking forward to it because that's also maybe a good thing to say to you guys. For me, I really found it addictive to set these goals. I started with 1 goal. I would recommend you to also start with 1 goal, but the feeling that to fulfill your goals is really addictive. I also work with players with this. When they go to the training ground, I gave them a book, and then we sit before the training. We sit together, and just write down. Okay, these are my goals for the training. I want to fulfill these goals. And after training, we evaluate this with these guys.
Yeah.
For example, a striker needs to score 10 goals or score with his left and his right foot.
Okay, and
So
that applies to you as well personally, and you say it's giving you a satisfying feeling.
Yeah, 100%. It's addictive. So
Addictive.
I warn you guys.
Yeah. Okay, that's a nice one. Thanks for that advice. And with that, we unfortunately come to an end of this interview and session. And I really want to thank you for your great insights.
More than welcome.
I'm looking forward to the interview of tomorrow as well, where we will talk to Nicolas Paraskevopoulos, who is a nutrition specialist within PSV. But for now, thanks for watching. And again, Pablo, thanks for sharing your great insights. And for the rest, have a good day.